We talk about this quite a lot. This makes no sense. Hi guys, and welcome back to another week of TFW. This is the footballing show dominated by all of your opinions with my trusty iPad, so let's get straight into it. First up, Abdul Ghani Sahib has said that now that Messi isn't going to City, Liverpool are going to smash the Premier League this time or will reach 100 points taking home the trophy. What do you think? Love your videos, by the way. Thank you, Abdul. I'm not so sure Liverpool are going to smash it this season. I still think they're favourites to win it, and chances are they will win the title. But we've seen during lockdown, post-lockdown, Liverpool haven't quite been as strong, and I think the atmosphere at Anfield definitely plays onto that. Like, it's one of the best atmospheres in the Premier League. When they don't have it, kind of just takes them down a notch. I don't know. I also think that the kind of consistency Liverpool are going for is so utterly ridiculous. They have such amazingly high standards that it's just difficult to just do it year after year. It's kind of being the victim of your own success because they're that good. It's then difficult to go on and replicate it. To get 100 points, that can't be the goal. Winning the Premier League's the goal. If you reach 100 because of that, or once you've won it, then great. But I don't think it's going to be the goal. I don't think they'll smash the Premier League. It's not because there's going to be a ridiculous amount of competition in terms of the title race. I still think it's going to be Liverpool and City. But also on top of this, other teams are getting better. Other teams are having better players, better squads, and will be a little bit more aware of how Liverpool play. We'll probably come up with more plans to try and combat this. And, you know, it's not like they'll smash all the small teams. Like, there will be a few sides who are going to trip Liverpool up over the course of the season. Next up, Potato Mations has said, my opinion, people need to stop overhyping Chelsea. Havertz, Werner, Chilwell and Ziyech are all decent players with great potential, but is their ability right now good enough to win the league ahead of Liverpool and City? I doubt it. Saying their potential is not good enough right now, they're not. These players aren't actually bought on their potential. They're not youngsters who are like going to develop in a few seasons. They're good now. Like Ziyech is doing it in the Champions League and winning stuff at the top for Ajax now. Werner's, challenging towards the top of the Bundesliga with Leipzig and playing in the Champions League now. Like, it's not like the youngsters who are just breaking through. I mean, Chilwell's got like 5 years of Premier League experience with Leicester. Who's the other one? Kai Havertz, a big player for Leverkusen and for the German national team as well. So I think their ability is good enough. Having said that, you're talking about two of the best teams in recent Premier League history. In terms of Manchester City and Liverpool. So yeah, of course it's difficult to challenge them. But I wouldn't say it's because of Chelsea. I do think though, Chelsea have definitely had the best transfer window. They've definitely made, the best signings in the positions that they needed to, and are definitely going to be the ones, if anybody, who's going to challenge the top two. Anyone that says otherwise is just hating on Chelsea. You can't possibly hate bringing in 4 quality proven players. Like, Havertz was a lot of money. So was Chilwell. But the other two, in terms of what you're getting for Werner and Ziyech, some pretty good transfer business. Put it this way, if any other top 6 club did that, their fans would be absolutely loving it. I definitely agree. Oh my God, if Spurs pulled off these deals, I'd be going absolutely nuts. And kudos to Chelsea for doing them. No hate at all. Max Quack, what a name, said, despite Messi being told to stay for another season, I think he will still move to another team once the 21-22 season is over. That's 2 seasons' time. You mean 2021, I believe. Despite the rumours of him signing a new contract. Or maybe he's talking about when the contract ends. Yeah, Messi always kind of has that hint that he will leave at the end of his contract, but there's a big difference between leaving then and now. There's a big difference between like an unceremonious transfer request and a legal battle and a move to Manchester City, which he pretty much has called off because he knew he couldn't win, to then seeing out your contract, getting a big farewell, getting all the love from the supporters and leaving with the club's blessing and moving to, I don't know, back to Newell's Old Boys in Argentina or to the MLS or wherever. There's a big difference, but yeah, I still think he is going to move to another team. I feel like it'll be one of those things where I'm not so sure we'll see too many players stay at one club. Because when you think about it, you can stay at a team until you're like, 37, 38. But if you're holding the team back, or if you're just not good enough anymore, it's not really worth it. And being good enough at Barcelona is insanely difficult. Like, to be the quality and the standards of Barcelona first team or where they want to be when you're into your, late 30s is insanely difficult. So I can see him leaving. It's obviously easier when you're older to stay at a team that doesn't have many standards because you're still going to be good enough at 38. Not saying Messi won't, but it's very difficult. Next up, some long and bizarre name. Anyway, it says Barcelona shouldn't go for Wijnaldum because he's past his 30s. I thought he was 29. Instead, they should go for young players like Nicolas Zaniolo. He is cheap and he can boost the midfield. It's a good job I didn't mention the name. In what world is Nicolas Zaniolo cheap? Roma is like the one guy that Roma won't sell, and they want at least 70 to 80 million euros for him. And yeah, Wijnaldum isn't 30 yet. That is an unpopular opinion for a reason. Zaniolo definitely won't be leaving Roma anytime soon if the club have anything to say about it. He said that he loves the club, he wants to stay, and he is definitely not cheap. He can boost the midfield, you're right, he can boost most midfields in Europe, but no, definitely not cheap. Big Boy Red has said that Pep Guardiola is an okay manager. Oh boy, here we go. He won trophies at Barcelona because of the players who wouldn't win. Who wouldn't win with Xavi, Iniesta and Messi? Same situation at Bayern. We talk about this quite a lot. This makes no sense. If every manager would win at Bayern, you wouldn't have managers being sacked. Barcelona wouldn't have had 2 different managers, 3 different managers this season if it was so easy to win because of their players. Barcelona wouldn't have been in one Champions League final in the last, 10 years, 9 years. If it was that easy, they'd win every year, but they don't. Bayern Munich have won 2 Champions League finals in the last, 7 years, and had quite a few managers in between then, and they haven't won everything. So it's not so much as you just sit there and let the players do their thing, otherwise they wouldn't even need a manager. So yeah, no, that's completely and utterly wrong. I think it's so ridiculous to just look at a manager and go, oh, they're part of the best team, they'll win everything. No. If you want to look at the true effects that manager has, look how they've affected players, systems. Like, there is no way you can underestimate what Pep Guardiola has done for English football as a whole. Since he came in, the transformation in players at Manchester City, I point to the likes of Raheem Sterling, definitely, who he's taken to another level. The way Manchester City play, the way they took on the Premier League and completely dominated domestic cup competitions as well, breaking all sorts of records, including 100 points. The way that the rest of the league has followed suit. Teams are playing like Guardiola and the way his systems are. Smaller teams who, in the past would probably a bit more of a long route football, a bit more of an English style football, and now adopting all sorts of different tactics and styles. There are different players who you would consider non-English style players that are coming through, the likes of Phil Foden especially at Manchester City. Guardiola's impact on English football cannot be underestimated through all levels. It's insane. Emily Thomas, in my opinion, Eddie Howe definitely has the potential to manage a top 6 challenger in the Premier League. He did a great job at Bournemouth, one of the best English managers in my eyes. I would go as far to say I am in the complete other camp. Eddie Howe is not a good manager. He had some backing, quite a lot of backing, right, considering the size of Bournemouth, and didn't do anything with it and ended up getting relegated. In fact, when he was first at Bournemouth, he did well to coach them through the leagues, went to Burnley, he almost made them bankrupt, went back to Bournemouth, got promoted to the Premier League for 5 years, spent 30 million per transfer on the likes of Jordan Ibe and a few others, and got absolutely nothing for it, and then got them relegated. I don't know what about that makes you think he'll be good at a top 6. There seems to be a sort of bias about English managers who sort of consolidate and play a bit of nice football. Bournemouth got absolutely thrashed for quite a majority of most of the seasons they were in the Premier League. I certainly wouldn't take him at my club in the top 6. And lastly but not least, Sultan Abonami has said, unpopular opinion, I think Iceland should have drawn 0-0 because England's penalty robbed Iceland's game. We have this so many times. It seems to be an England hate thing. Maybe Iceland should have drawn if they'd have scored a penalty. Why don't you think that? Or they should have drawn if they actually, or even won the game, if they actually decided to attack. Just because Iceland conceded the penalty in the last minute doesn't make it any less deserved for England. Like, what if England had won the penalty in the 10th minute? Would it then have been a deserved draw? No, Iceland sat back and defended for their lives. Yes, they defended quite well. Right, I actually say very well. They kept quite a good shape. Just defending quite a good shape for a 0-0 doesn't mean you deserve the draw. I mean, it means you got to be concentrated for the whole 90 minutes. They weren't. England won a penalty fair and square and scored it. Iceland won a penalty and missed it. That's the difference at the end of the day. Saying the penalty robbed their game is just, yeah, it's absurd. They weren't even trying to score. Anyway, that is all from me, as always, for this week's TFW. And this is the last of this kind of TFW. It will be back next Monday, of course, but just a little bit different. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. As always, though, every Sunday night in the YouTube community tab is where you'll find the post where you can leave your hottest opinions for that Monday's TFW. That is all from me, though. Make sure you smash the like button and let me know your thoughts down below, and check out all the other stuff we got going on Onefootball. And until next time, I will see you guys later.